Hey, you know what? For 3 years, we've been podcasting together. For 3 years, you've been sticking it to me. I want to know why.
You don't want to know, Ryan.
I want to know why.
Well, you have the potential to be a good podcaster, but instead of that, you join the Navy and are making gainful contributions to society. It's a living.
I'm getting there. It's a living. Actually, it's not. I get zero money in podcasting.
No, I'm talking about because you're in the Navy, right?
Oh, right. I screwed it up. What else is new? Yeah, so this is my room. I got my own little pad here.
Nice.
Yeah, it's on base, and it comes with Wi-Fi. So when I made that announcement that I wouldn't be doing podcasts, there's still going to be a break, because once I start my job here in July, I'm going to be very busy and irregular hours. But at least for the next couple of weeks, I have internet, so I might be able to sneak in a couple of episodes.
Well, it's better to say you're not doing podcasts and then do some compared to saying you will do it and then not doing any. So
very true. Did you get a chance to listen to the episode that you were on?
I listened to part of it when you streamed it live, and that guy was asking when we're going to play Rocky for the public. I haven't listened to the whole one, but that's the only one I haven't listened to. I've caught up otherwise, though.
Yeah, for our listeners on iTunes right now, well, for whoever's listening, what I do is I post the audio file. I stream it like a MPEG-4 on the Facebook, so people can listen to it on Facebook and react and talk if they want to, which somebody did. So here's the thing. Our Facebook page, all it is it's our podcast page. It's not a Rocky fan page in the sense of like I'm just posting Rocky pictures. It's a Rocky fan page, but it's a podcast page, right, about Rocky. I don't know why people have a hard time understanding that. I guess people. So I posted this video, or it's audio video, it's just being Kyle talking about Rocky 5, the episode 116, and somebody said, "Stop talking and show the movie."
Oh, God.
They actually wanted us to stream, sure, come to our Facebook page for online streaming illegally of films. That's what we're there for.
Well, hopefully we haven't lost a podcast fan.
Who cares?
You keep listening, buddy. You keep listening.
Yeah, sure. You ready to get into this?
Ding, ding.
Well, that's how we end it. Now we got to end it already. We just started.
Why start and end with a bell?
No, it doesn't start with a bell. Craig was with me on the last episode. We're now going to cover the part where they go to Father Kymine. Tommy and Rocky go to... Yeah. Okay. I guess I should start this thing. All right, welcome everyone to another episode of Going the Distance, the Rocky Series podcast. Yeah, as you heard a little bit in the prelude there, I'm recording out of Quebec. It's going to be very difficult recording with Ruben. He knows. I, of course, invited him first for tonight's recording. He was my first choice, my brother, co-host of the show. He has an extremely busy weekend as it is, and it's 8 o'clock for me already, and it's 5 o'clock for him. So that's the kind of hour difference we have. So when he's ready to record anywhere around 7 or 8 o'clock at night, it's 10 or 11 for me. So it's going to be hard, but we'll have to... I don't know. It just might be a different podcast for a few years. I should also say that if you want to listen to me and Ruben exclusively, we have another podcast called The Worst of the Best Podcast, and that is one that Ruben will only be on with me. We'll never substitute host for that one. That's what makes that one special. As brothers, that's our brother project for sure. So again, that's The Worst of the Best Podcast, found on all podcast apps. And on this show, and that one too, give us a freaking review, people. I don't ask for money. I don't ask for nothing. I don't have any of these stupid these Patreon episodes. You know what they should call Patreon? They should call patronizing your listeners. Who thinks they're so important that they have to... You got to give me money for me to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? This is Ryan and this is Kyle. We ask for nothing. All we ask is that you listen and enjoy. Well, I don't even care if you enjoy the show, but listen. We're not going to ask for a dime, and you get every episode for free. And the best part is you get no ads other than me plugging my own other podcast. And Kyle has nothing to share, so we don't have to worry about that. All right. Is that a good intro, Kyle?
Ryan, you are a little feisty today, bud.
Because I keep forgetting to do it. Like, I'll be listening to the podcast after I release it. I'm like, man, I forgot to plug my other show. Because it's like a 10-1 listening audience for this one. I know there's a lot of Rocky fans, but it's like, come on, you gotta like other topics. Well, that's what the worst, the best podcast is. It's other topics other than Rocky. And on top of that, there are podcasts that I listen to, and I refuse to give Patreon money. I'm sorry.
I never give Patreon money.
There's a lot of great podcasts out there providing a lot of free content, and I just want to be a part of that group. But I still listen to their free shows, don't get me wrong. I don't stop listening to them, but it's like, we have this episode that's worth $1. Come on. All right.
Do you want to just keep going, or?
Well, no. What do you got? What do you got, brother?
I'm not against Patreon per se. I don't pay it. The only models of Patreon I think that make sense is if like you get perks over the regular listener. But otherwise, it's just begging or asking for donations. So
right, I understand. People say. You're right. Maybe I'm a little bit bitter because maybe I don't think anyone would pay $1 to my show, but. When they do the Patreon only episodes, I guess those bother me more. But sure, if you're like such a fan that you're giving the guys, there's one podcast I listen to where they give some of the perks are they'll pick a topic for you to talk about, that's a little bit more involvement. But hey, you know what? I understand that. But the point is, it's just like money's hard to come by, and there a lot of people, if they listen to one podcast, they probably listen to 10 different shows, and it's asking a lot of a listener to start kind of picking and choosing who they're going to pay for. But that being said. I love all you other listeners of my show who happen to be podcasters who do Patreon. If you get your money, bravo Zulu. I get nothing. Hey, but if you want to send me money, just give me a message and I'll give you my PayPal account. Okay.
They can send me money too if they want.
Yeah, Kyle's got a PayPal account. He has nothing to give you, but if you want to give him money, please, by all means.
I'll send nudes. I'm cool with that.
Oh yeah, he's good. He's good with nudes too. Kyle actually did have a question before we get into the show, into the actual discussion of Rocky V. There was some Stallone news that I forgot to bring up with Craig. So lucky you get it. What is your feeling on the all-female cliffhanger?
Wait, what?
Okay,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there is a remake being made right now. It's going to be filmed. It's a remake of the movie Cliffhanger.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Honestly, sorry it's so boring, but I'm not going to watch it. Like, I was never really into the actual Cliffhanger movie, so it's just like, well, if I wasn't into that one, I won't be into this one.
I just wanted to get your thoughts on an all-female Cliffhanger movie. So, you don't really have one. You're just not going to watch it.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I saw Cliffhanger when it first came out, and I haven't seen it since. I barely remember it, and I don't remember liking it. So I'm just like, no.
Fair enough. Okay. And look, I'm not against, and I'll probably say this again, but I'm not against all female anything. I hate it when it's not about the female thing. It's just, but why do we have to? Why do we have to? That's all I'm asking. Just make another action movie with just females. They did it with Charlie's Angels, and that was in the 70s and the reboots, and they're doing another reboot of that, by the way. That's great. There's a lot of great Wonder Woman. There's a lot of great characters that are all about the females. I had no problem with that. But to take a cliffhanger and to make that a female movie, that's weird. Anyways, we'll see. Okay. So here we go. Tommy and Rocky are calling out to Father Carmine's window. The character Father Carmine has not been seen since Rocky 2, when Rocky said to him, "I'm late for my own fight."
Yeah. I remember when I first saw this movie, seeing Father Carmine. I'm like, wow, he's still there. That's cool.
And he's aged pretty well in the last 15 years or whatever.
Yeah, no, he's living right, I guess. I've always wanted to know what Father Carmine actually says, which shouldn't be that hard to find out. Like, there's got to be someone who speaks Italian that we can contact.
He sends down a blessing. As we're watching this movie, we should say, looks like we're about to get to, and we are, kind of a training montage. Really, this is Tommy's training montage. While Tommy is a training and fighting montage, I should say. And while he's the protege of Rocky, we're led to believe this is him rising up to the challenge of his rivals. This is him being trained by Rocky. This is when things are good, I guess you could say. Yeah, and
of course, it's obvious that Rocky is getting Tommy to do all the things that he did, more or less, including seeing Father Carmine and, fighting at the same places and doing all the same training. And that, except for with Rocky, that all happened kind of organically. And there was a series of events that brought him to do all that. That's kind of just being foisted on Tommy. Like, he's not developing into his own person and finding a routine that works for him. He's just kind of being molded into Rocky, but he's not Rocky, so it's weird.
Good point. I like this scene too with Tommy wearing the toque because it kind of hides the mullet.
Yeah, it was the. I think the mullet was still in style, unfortunately.
All right, so with the training montage, Kyle, as it comes up, we're going to do a lot of pausing because I think that there's a lot of stuff that happens. We'll talk about each kind of little snippet and scene, if that makes sense.
All right.
Okay, so here we go. Here is the conversation that Rocky has with Father Carmine.
Yo! Father Carmine! You know, maybe he's not home.
No, priest is always home.
Oh, Rocky!
Yo!
Ma perché non battesti la porta?
Oh, well, I didn't want to disturb you that much, Father.
Non disturbo. E la famiglia com'è?
Oh, excellent. Everything is perfect, you know. Father, this is my new friend, Tommy Gunn.
Oh, tanto piacere fare conoscenza, eh? Che posso fare per te, Rocky?
Well, I was wondering, Tommy here is a fighter, and I was supposed to be his manager, you know? So I was wondering if you could do me a favor, if you ain't that busy, if you could throw us down a couple blessings, like one, that I don't mess up being a manager, and B, that Tommy does as good as I think he could do, great, and don't get hurt none. Could you do that?
Ma sicuro, un piacere è mio. In nome del Padre, del Figlio, dello Spirito Santo, e così sia.
Love when he does that.
Hey, thanks, Father. I really appreciate this.
Ma tanto piacere, anytime.
Okay, hey, I'll see you in church.
Oh, sì, sicuramente, venite tutti e due.
Okay.
Hey, man, what'd you do this for?
Hey, it don't hurt having an angel in your corner, Come on.
All right, so a couple things here. I love it when he says, one, that, I can do good as a manager or whatever, and then he goes, B.
Yeah.
I love that. That's actually really good writing on Sly's part. Those little subtle Rockyisms.
You know what I've never understood about Rocky and his knowledge or lack thereof of the Italian language? He appears to know what Father Carmine's saying, at least generally. Mm-hmm. But you remember when Rocky got married and Father Carmine was doing the ceremony in Italian? And then when he finishes, he was like, "You may kiss the bride." I wonder if he said that in Italian and Rocky didn't understand it, or maybe I'm off on that. But
I think he just knows enough, and he says, "I'll see you in church." And I would assume Father Carmine, he doesn't know very much English at all, that he probably gives the whole sermon in Italian.
Yeah. I wonder if Rocky will actually see him in church.
Yeah. Well, Father Carmine says something after he says, "I'll see you in church," and Father Carmine's like, "Yeah, sure, we'll see you in church."
He's like, "Rocky, we haven't seen you there in 12 years or whatever, or 20 years." It's like, yeah, okay, I'll see you next Sunday. I don't remember the barbed wire there before.
Yeah, there's barbed wire around the brick wall.
It looks like almost like a newer brick wall too. It's definitely a different color than all the other brick around. It seems like that's more of the decay of the neighborhood, right? Like, I don't know if you would have needed barbed wire there when Rocky was training. You constantly get reminded of things have changed, right? Maybe not for a good way.
Yeah, there's crime even next to the holy places. You brought up how Rocky's kind of forcing Tommy through Rocky's life journey, and he forces the idea of having that angel on your shoulder with Tommy.
Yeah, which is weird because it's like, it's not weird, but I guess Mick was the angel, and then Father Carmine's giving him a blessing, so it almost seems like, there's some sort of act like supernatural angel, and then, I don't know, I guess maybe Rocky doesn't matter, it's just an angel's an angel, but...
Yeah. Mickey, you was the angel.
Yeah.
I love how we have Ghost Mickey, the same way we have Ghost Yoda.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you strike me down, kid. I become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
That's right. I would have gotten to heaven, but I didn't know I had no manager.
Oh, God.
They let in all these other bums, Rack. You know why they got into heaven? Because they had a manager, Rack. I got 76 years of this in my... I want to give it to you.
Oh, God.
But I got to be down here in hell carrying buckets of spit.
Yeah, they never stop.
And Paulie's like, I hope they got my comics.
Yeah, no radio, no Rose Bowl.
That would be Paulie's hell. Just endless snow. All right, so here we go. I think we got a training fighting montage coming on. So let's, for our listeners, you're going to hear me stopping it quite a bit, so it's going to sound really kind of like what is going on. You're going to hear a bit of the audio, so just bear with it because it's going to be like I think it's coming up with soundtrack music and stuff. But your hosts, Kyle and Ryan, will guide you through what's going on here. It's going to be fast and furious.
Hey, Rock, how's it going?
Doing great, guys.
Better slow down. We're going to give you a ticket.
Oh, well, except for this one part where there's cops who pulled over a speeder, and of course you just heard that banter there. Now I think it's going to get fast and furious.
Oh, well, good to see that Rocky's getting along with law enforcement nowadays. So,
well, remember, he does have a criminal record.
Yeah, that's right. That's funny. I wonder if Rocky's been to prison.
Well, he did say in his job interview in part 2, where the interviewer's like, it says here you've got a criminal record,
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, nothing worth bragging about.
Well, it doesn't mean he's done jail time necessarily.
He's been arrested, but he's done nothing worth bragging about. What crime is worth bragging about, anyways?
Maybe on the street, only the hardcore crimes are worth bragging about. Breaking a thumb is probably like it's assault and battery. I don't know how serious that'd be. Probably pretty serious.
It's probably a violent act, I would assume.
Yeah.
This is Tommy Gunn. He's gonna be chipped, guys.
How you doing, Tom?
Oh, sorry, my mistake. We're not getting to the training montage just yet, but it's coming. So now we've harkened back to Rocky 1 a little bit. We had the picture of Christ. It's the same gym that Rocky fought Spider Rico in the opening sequence of Rocky Part 1. So this movie really does a lot of callback to the first Rocky, and I think that was always the intention. I think this was the Rocky Balboa that Sly wanted.
Yeah. It's like the whole premise is that basically Rocky can't fight anymore, and so he's trying to live vicariously through someone else. So he's purposefully getting that person to do everything he would have done. And I don't think he's trying to do it maliciously or anything. It's just that's all he knows.
Exactly.
It's ultimately going to be Tommy's demise.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting had Mickey train Tommy, and with Tommy's left hook and his beast in the ring, it would have been more organic, and Mickey would have, as a seasoned manager / trainer, would have known how to mold Tommy to what he needed, and as he did for Rocky. But Rocky's just training Tommy like Rocky got trained, but that's not what Tommy needs. Tommy's not Rocky.
Yeah, he has no identity as a result. Like every fighter or every person needs to go through their own journey that's unique to them, and they have to find themselves, and they have to go through opposition. And Tommy, he has it's like this inorganic process. Sorry, Ryan, one sec. It's like this inorganic process where, he's doing things that are not really suited to him necessarily. And he's not really going through the journey he needs to go through to be his own person.
Right.
So
let's see what happens here with the first fight. We're going to see Tommy in a real match here, boys. Let's go. So do you want to comment on the filming here? It almost looks like Rocky 1. It's really well, you can really see the John G. Avildsen work here because it almost has a real feel and look to the Rocky 1 of 1976.
Yeah, the gloves are like the same color. And so when they clench, or just before, it looks just like Rocky and Spider Rico clenching.
Yeah.
The gloves look the same, and the style of the clinch look the same. I actually think the Church in general is one of the few places that looks a bit better than it did in 1975.
But I wonder if that lady is still there from Rocky 1. Yeah, Bob Rock!
No, she died from lung cancer.
That's true.
But yeah, a lot less garbage being thrown. Looks like people are more engaged in the fight. But yeah, it is very similar looking. And of course, the shot from the picture of Jesus there is just like Rocky 1. So yeah, what bothers me is that you see Tommy going through stuff just like Rocky, but he's not. It's not the same.
Right. We'll get to that.
Get off the ropes!
It's so easy, all right?
Man, I need more work.
No, you're ready. You're perfect.
No, I need more work.
No,
Man, this guy's killing me.
No, listen. You're ready now. You're
He's
perfect.
killing me.
No, you're perfect. You understand me?
Man, I feel weak.
No, listen to me.
I feel
Listen.
weak.
Shut up. Listen to me. Mickey, the only difference between the hero and the coward is the hero's willing to go for it, all right? Willing to take the shot, okay? Now, this guy over here is scared, too. You're scared, he's scared, you're both scared. Remember in the basement, we was talking about fear and how it's like this fire, huh? And you gotta control it because it's like, it'll like burn you up or it's gonna burn him up, all right? Now, you gotta make it work for you, Tommy, okay? I would never do nothing that would hurt you. You gotta understand what I'm saying. Now, fear is like this fire, okay? Now, let it burn and burn until it becomes like this volcano. And when the time is right, and you see the opening, explode all over this guy, okay? And you can take him, okay? It's all heart, you understand? Okay, it ain't all muscle, it's all heart. Heart and fire, okay? Now you do it.
First, Rocky told him to shut up.
That's very Mickey-ish. I like that.
But he's all over the place here in his little pep talk.
Yeah, I think basically he's telling Tommy it's all in his head. Tommy wants to quit, that he needs more work, that he's weak, he needs to go back. And Rocky's saying, look, you know, you're letting your fear overcome you, and you can use that as a positive by just not being afraid to lose. Just going out there and fighting and believing in yourself. But I think Tommy's issue was he was afraid to lose out there. He was afraid to get beat. That ultimately is what causes him to lose, would cause him to lose. Be willing to take the shot, be willing to take the risk, which is really a very condensed speech that would he give his son Robert and Rocky Balboa.
We're also seeing the build-up here of Rocky quoting Mickey too much.
Yeah, which is odd because it's quotes we never heard Mickey say. And you could say, well, of course they don't film the entire trading relationship between Rocky and Mickey, and all this stuff could have been said otherwise. But that doesn't seem like something Mickey would say, to be honest. Even like the earlier in the film, the speech that Mickey gave Rocky and gave him the cufflink, that didn't seem like Mickey either. Like it seemed like too gentle and too nice to be Mickey.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. But there was that nice scene in Rocky 3, which also was filmed before Rocky 5.
True. Yeah, that's true.
Told him that he's really proud of him. And there was that really kind of tender moment the camera panned out. Even though it was during that terrible train sequence, Mickey still told him that he's really proud of him. I don't think he said he loved him, but he said he loved him on his death table.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I don't think Mickey ever spoke about fear, though.
No, because Rocky never really had that problem, other than Rocky 3, after he got beat by Clever, and he finally admitted to Adrian that he was afraid. And then he actually says, for the first time in my life, I'm afraid. And that's probably like hyperbole, but you never got that sense that he was necessarily really afraid of his opponents. Like, for example, in Rocky 1, he thought he'd get his face kicked in. You could say that's fear, but he kind of just knew that's what would happen, but he was still going to go and do it.
I think he was more resigned than fearful.
Yeah, he's like, this is what's going down, and I'm going to step in and do it anyways. The character Rocky never seemed to have an issue with fear, more just an issue of motivation, finding the right reason to do something. And like, for example, in this building, in this fight in the first film, he didn't seem too motivated to fight Spider until Spider headbutted him, and then it angered him, and then he exploded all over him and knocked him out.
Yeah, so it's interesting that he's using kind of conquering your fear to motivate Tommy in the same ring that Rocky once started in, where he should have just said at this point, look, just pretend that guy's your dad.
No kidding. That's all he should have said. It's like, yeah, I never thought of that, but that's actually perfect. That's exactly what he should have told him.
He should have said, we'll work on the fear later, but right now, just pretend that guy's your dad, and he just finished beating up your mom. Now go get him.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's trying to give Tommy the heart instead of the anger.
Yeah, well, makes sense. But yeah, I would have, that would have been great advice.
Here we go. Let's see how it ends up, though. Let's see if Tommy finds a little bit of heart here.
Anyone making bets right before this round?
Yeah. And then here goes Rocky. He's about to say, remember, I'm like this angel. So stand by for the repeat.
And you can take him, okay? It's all heart, you understand? It ain't all muscle, it's all heart. Heart and fire, okay? Now you do it. Remember, I'm like this angel sitting on your shoulder, okay? I ain't gonna let nothing happen to you, okay? Go. Got it.
So first it was Father Carmine giving the blessing, just like literally on their way to this bout, we're led to believe. But now Rocky is insinuating that was some sort of holy transference of Rocky being the angel on his shoulder.
Yeah, the angel switches places many times.
And I love Rocky. This is maybe a little bit of bad writing, but the whole idea of force feeding, the idea of an angel on your shoulder, like it's almost like telling like somebody you meet for the first time that you're kind of getting along with, but we're going to be best friends forever, right?
Yeah. I'm comparing this now to the scene in Creed. You don't mind if I talk about Creed a little bit, do you?
Talk about anything. We just talked about Patreon for 10 minutes at the beginning of this episode. So.
Fair enough. This is kind of a similar situation in Creed when Adonis fights Leo Sparino, the first fight in that movie. Well, the first one where Rocky's coaching him. Creed gets beat around just the same way in the ring. He's being totally outmatched. Rocky's way of training Creed was much more of a Rocky type of response than Rocky's response to Tommy here. It doesn't seem like something the Rocky Balboa character would say, like it's weird writing. But in Creed, he's just like, okay, I like what you're doing out there. You know, you're a little tight, but just next time when he does this, I want you to do that, and then, you know, you'll be fine. It's just kind of just reassuring him, you know, saying, you know, it's going to be okay. Just do this, do that. You'll be fine. And here it's like this angel on your shoulder shit. Like that doesn't seem like really something the Rocky character in any of the other movies would say.
Maybe that's just him trying. He's emulating Mickey, and he gets better as a trainer as he gets older and stops.
Yeah, it comes into himself. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes into himself, yeah. All right, so let's go with Tommy. Let's knock this guy out.
Come on, Tommy, jump! Floyd! Left, right! Good body! Good body!
A couple things that our listeners are going to hear. And we got that Go For It song, kind of that 1990s
Yeah.
song. Yeah, you know, the one playing in the background. So our listeners are going to hear it start and stopping as we talk about this montage coming up. So here's the start of the montage. Tommy's won his first, I guess, pro fight, because this counts as his record. He knocks this guy out in the ring, and we see Rocky telling him, you know, to go for the body, left, right, hook. You get that feeling that Rocky's literally, you know, almost using Tommy as you know, what he would do in the ring. And Tommy's doing what Rocky's telling him, and it's working. So it's a combination of how Rocky would fight with Tommy's strength.
Yeah, Tommy's his proxy, for sure, no doubt. It was the similar situation before, except Tommy didn't get mad, but yeah, he knocks him out, and then they go on a wild run here, which is a little different, actually, in his development than Rocky, now that I think about it. Because for Rocky, he goes from this all the way to fighting Apollo Creed. There's no fights in between.
Yeah, that's right.
For Tommy, he's actually got to work his way up a lot more, but it seems like he's going to have no resistance whatsoever.
That's a really good point, actually, Kyle, is that Tommy does, like, even though he's being trained by Rocky, absolutely, using that experience, he's got his own fighting ability, which is strong, and he's strong himself, young and strong and big. But he is working towards a hard work towards the championship, something that was offered to Rocky after Spider Rico.
Yeah. You know, this montage coming up of him just knocking everyone out big time almost reminds me of Clubber Lang, when you see him just wasting through people to get to the championship like they're nothing.
It almost gives you a little bit of sympathy for Tommy when he's offered the deal from Washington Duke, where it's like, hey, I'm just trying to give you the same opportunity that was given to Rocky by Juergens.
Yeah, that Tommy arguably earned. Although that said, had Rocky not been Tommy's trainer, then Tommy would probably not have worked his way up. Even if he had someone, just theoretically, even if he had a trainer that was exactly like Rocky in every way, but did not have Rocky's name or reputation, because I'm guessing Tommy got a lot of those fights because Rocky was his trainer and there's a lot of interest in Rocky.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's basically Rocky is the old man and Tommy's the young pretty girl. The old rich man and Tommy's the young pretty girl, yep.
That's right.
They're both using each other for different reasons, yeah. That's the first fight. Let's see this quick montage go on here.
Farther, faster, quicker than the next man. To be the best is the master plan. Go on with all you got, give it your best shot. Don't ever think about trying to stop.
All right, so we see Tommy hitting the punching bag, and he's getting full-on training here from Rocky, and he's doing the up, bopping, and weaving under that rope.
We see that later in Creed, too.
Yep.
Did he do that in the Rocky movies?
Mm-hmm.
Did he do the string?
Think.
He didn't do it in Rocky 1 or 2. The only time I think he was doing it, no, I don't think so.
He did it in part 4 in the lodge.
Okay, so that's maybe something he made up himself.
Maybe. I don't know if other boxers do that. Actually, you know what? I did that interview with that Golden Gloves champion, Cam F. Awesome. One of my early interviews. That is something they do. I think I brought that up.
And you see his son here. Like his son is watching, and he has this dejected look on his face.
Mm-hmm.
You can see in the bottom left corner of his mouth that he still has the mark from getting punched by that kid.
Yeah, he's got the split lip and a bruise. Like, he really got clocked.
Yeah, so what's that kid's name again?
Chip.
Chip, yeah. Chip has some power behind his punch.
Chip and his or Chicky, sorry, Chicky.
Chicky, yeah. What a stupid name.
You know, Sly gave it to him. Chicky, and his buddy's name in the credits is Chicky's pal.
Yeah, that's even more of a slight. Like, I don't even have my own name, and just that'd be like if I was only introduced on this podcast as Ryan's friend.
Yeah. That's just my co-host Ryan's friend.
Poor Robert here.
Yeah, he's looking dejected because, Rocky, his father, is spending all of his time and energy with Tommy, the new stepson.
This is the parental fatherhood equivalent of cuckolding.
Yep. But Robert's getting no pleasure out of it.
No, he's on the wrong side of that arrangement there.
Oh, boy. Just pushing the boundary, PG.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ryan.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, here we go.
For perfection, make up your direction. Don't ever stop for a moment.
Okay, so there's a quick little scene there of the medicine ball tossed back and forth, and then went back to the rope. And then we see our favorite character, Jimmy / Mike.
I do not recognize that first name.
Because you and I talked about... Oh, no, you and I didn't talk about it? Or did we talk
Yeah, we
about it?
did. Yeah. We ended up looking it up, and I was like super mad that they gave him a different name.
It's insane. And it wasn't an IMDb entry. It was on the film credit roll.
It's undeniable.
His name is Jimmy.
I will continue to refer to him as Mike. But Mike is taking Robert under his wing, teaching him a few moves.
Yeah, so we're starting to see that, I have to say, Jimmy / Mike. Yeah, he's training Robert and doing that which his father's not doing. So I guess Jimmy's got some free time.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're about to see here, it looks like a little banner on this building. We're coming up here, Friday Night Fights.
He's still small time right now in this particular fight. This is not pay-per-view material.
You okay over there?
Yeah, sorry, my wife's walking in and out. But
That's fine. Nobody can see her.
I know, I just meant like hopefully the noises are messing
Don't
up.
worry. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
You got it, flaunt it, and get up on it. Go for yours, not for a minute, but all the time. You better do it because
we don't see the fight that goes on in there. It's just a little insinuation that he fought at a kind of a local joint. Now things are moving up. He's now at Jimmy Toppy's Blue.
make up your direction. Don't ever stop for a moment. Prove you want it. If you got it, flaunt it, and get up on it. Go for yours, not for a minute, but all the time. You better do it because...
Yeah, Jimmy Toppy's Blue Horizon.
Looks like a decent venue.
And we also see just before this cut, Robert working the speed bag and doing a horrible job, of course.
He's so small, right? Like, that speed bag's huge compared to him, and he has no practice. I'd like to try a speed bag just to see how good or bad I'd be at it.
I'd probably be like Robert.
Yeah, because like the fighters make it look so easy. But yeah, I'd probably be a total mess.
So now we see Tommy fighting at Jimmy Toppy's Blue Horizon. Yeah, the venue looks pretty big. It's getting bigger, a little bit more. He's moving up the ranks, we can assume.
The ref looks pretty professional looking. Has a bow tie.
Yeah, he's got a bow tie on, yeah. Oh, here goes Union King. This is a newspaper clipping.
Yeah, wins the title.
What does it say? Claims the title. Yeah, so now we know. So Tommy's moving up, and Union King now has the title. Yeah.
Okay, and this is an homage to the Rocky 3. You'll see in Rocky 3 when Rocky's doing his, he's winning his 10 title defenses. You'll see Clubber also starting to win, and there's a newspaper clipping that talks about one of Rocky's victories. And then in the bottom corner, there's a small little snippet that says Clubber now ranked 8th.
That's exactly what's happening here. We got Balboa's pupil wins second fight by knockout.
He's kind of like Chicky's friend. They don't even say Tommy's name in the title.
No, Balboa's pupil.
Balboa is like there's the ownership with that apostrophe S there, right? Like,
yeah.
I see it in your
I just wanted to see that fight venue. Not that it's really important, but we see Rocky and Tommy just getting along royally. He's working the speed bag, and Rocky just thinks it's amazing that Tommy can hit the speed bag.
Yeah, and his son's right behind him, struggling and feeling abandoned by his dad. That would suck. Like, I feel bad for him.
Yeah, but we've had on our show the host from the Super Ugly Show come on a couple of times, and their host, who goes by the name of Rocky, actually, has stated that Rocky's one of the worst fathers in cinema history.
That's kind of reflected in the fact that he never really has a relationship with his son. It's always strained. In Rocky Balboa, it wasn't doing well, and then he moves to a different country on the West Coast to get away from his dad, essentially.
Yeah, and that's actually a real credit to Rocky V than the writing, because that strained relationship wasn't there in Rockies 2, 3, and 4 with his son, because the child's so young, he's just surrounded by money and toys. But in Rocky V, when all that's taken away, it's actually really good writing showing that, Rocky, take away his fighting and his training and take away his money, not the greatest dad. And we talked as well that he didn't have a father figure growing up. It could just be his inability to understand what to do as a father, maybe.
You can give him some understanding on that respect.
Like, he's not a mean person. He just doesn't get cues. Like, he's missing. He loves boxing. It's what he knows. He always says, it's what I know. It's just what he knows. And now he's got this guy who knows it too, and they're just connecting.
Yeah, and because he and his son are totally different people.
Sure.
They have nothing in common other than the fact that they're related. The only thing that I wonder about is, like, Rocky has such an affinity for Adrian, and really, Robert's a lot like her, or at least more like her than Rocky is. You would hope maybe he'd see something in him that way, but he seems to be totally disinterested in his son. Like you were saying, too, like in the other movies, other than when he's, like, talking to him, like, there's a couple little scenes in, like, Rocky 3 and 4, like in the golf cart, or him talking to him about, going that one extra round and you don't think you can. But otherwise, he seems it's like his kid's kind of an inconvenience.
Which is weird considering what he said at the end of Rocky 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Other than my kid being born, winning the championship is the greatest night of his life.
Another weird thing I found about him was when Adrian was in a coma for God knows how long, he refused to even see his son until they could see him together.
I think she was only in a coma for 2 or 3 days. That's it.
Really?
I don't think it was that long.
It was like weeks and stuff.
No, because he kept his facial hair, whatever he had grown in that time, was just stubble. I think the facial hair, yeah. So the facial hair indicated no more than 6 days.
Yeah, even so. Okay, I'll give you that. However,
you have to give me that. There's no way it was more than 1 week because there was such little time to begin with between the fight and his time to train. The coma, I think we're led to believe it was probably 3 nights. I think it was like 3 nights. And that's why it's feasible that he might not have seen the kid, that, maybe by the 4th or 5th or 6th or 7th night, he might have gone to see the kid eventually. But I think Adrian was in the coma just short enough that all he could focus on was her at that moment.
Okay. But even so, would you not see your newborn infant for several days, or even 4 days?
Yeah, he's had a weird relationship with his son from the beginning.
Yeah.
Other than my wife going into a coma, this is the greatest night in the history of my life.
Yeah, actually, that's true, because like the whole circumstance of his kid being born was the worst. Yeah. And he didn't look at his kid for...
It should have been rewritten. Other than the time that my wife and I held our baby for the first time, that's what he should have said.
Like right away, my wife said I could train, so I said, "See you, baby," and then trained.
And then Mickey said, "What are you waiting for? Take it."
Yeah. So he had a very short paternity leave.
Yeah.
It's time for the rhyme of the bold and the gifted. Listen closely and you'll get lifted. Higher than you ever been before. Get more than your bargain for sure. Life can be a trip full of trouble, but you gotta stand up and fight back.
Oops, I just want to see that newspaper clipping and then just go back.
Yeah, something with Balboa was cool.
Boy, it's going fast. Why does it go so fast? So Tommy's now, I guess, on his third opponent, and we were seeing his punching power is just huge. He's literally knocking people off the ropes and just comes in strong. Like, he's just he's like the white Tyson.
Yeah. Plus he's probably fighting bums. Not that they're setups, but this really, really seems like Rocky 3.
Nah, they weren't setups.
They were good fighters, they weren't killers, right? He's not getting that real challenge where he develops as a character. It's like too easy for him. Maybe because of his raw abilities, right? Like it's not like he's ducking people or whatever.
I don't know about that, Kyle. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I honestly believe these are old. Like I think this is like a legit climbing up the ladder, and I think had he fought Union King right now, he'd beat Union King. I think he's a better fighter already, like stronger. I think just his power alone would beat Union King.
Okay, but I'm going to say Rocky films are always reflective of the boxing environment, and the 70s generation was a much tougher era in boxing than the succeeding generations. Of course, you have Mike Tyson, who's kind of an outlier there because he was a very exceptional fighter. But one of the big criticisms of Mike Tyson was that a lot of his opponents were not really top tier opponents. Like they were good fighters. Like the 70s, like you had so many great fighters. Like of course you had Muhammad Ali, you had Joe Frazier, you had Ken Norton, you had George Foreman. Like it was a meat grinder. Like it was a very, very tough era, and fighters were fighting the best people all the time. The 80s and into the 90s was not like that. I think Mike Tyson, had he fought in the 70s, would have done well, but he would have it would have been a different career. So I think this here is she kind of Tommy's era in boxing, I think wouldn't be as tough as Rocky's, is what I'm saying.
Okay. I don't know enough to argue that, and it sounds good to me.
We'll just go with that. I'm sure some of the fans will be like, this guy's full of shit.
Left, right. Good body. Good body.
Go.
Go to the body, Tom. Go on.
Trip for the rhyme of the
Damn, you okay? Hey,
Yo, when life says more, get more than your bargain for sure. Life can be a trip full of trouble, but you gotta stand up and fight back. Don't let nothing hold you back. Yo, when life says.
Oh, there we go. So Balboa's clone clobbers opponent, promising newcomer now 8-0. So it doesn't even say promising newcomer. It doesn't even say his name. And first line of the article is Rocky is now in the management business and doing it very well. So now we're finally getting newspaper articles that fit the headline.
Yeah. I don't know if Tommy reads the paper, but if he does, I'd be getting pretty pissed if like my name isn't in the title, especially if I was being called a clone.
Yeah, Balboa's clone clobbers. Imagine if it said Balboa's clone clubbers opponent.
It's funny the nickname they come up for him in this movie. He's called the Clone Ranger.
Oh, yeah. Does it come up with the Clone Ranger?
Yeah, they mention that later in the film.
Okay.
Stop, you say go.
go to the body, Tom.
So during this montage, we have the interspersing of Robert's montage. And so he is getting trained by both Paulie, who does have training experience in Rocky's career, and Jimmy / Mike from Rocky 1 and 5. He's also training Robert. So Robert's getting a little bit tougher, a little bit stronger. We're starting to see him get a little bit better at his training too.
It's interesting too for Robert. I wonder if the anger and frustration he feels at this situation is helping him train harder. You know, like when you're working out and or you're pissed about something and then you go work out to kind of blow off some steam. You can kind of get a better workout in. Mm-hmm. At least that's the way for me. I wonder if like when he's seeing this, like when he sees like his dad loving someone and not him, that makes him do like that one extra push-up or something, or be just a little more intense.
Sure, he's trying to get a little bit of that Tommy anger towards his father.
Yeah, and there's still that you're on right now, Ryan. I didn't get a look at this guy's face, but that guy he's sparring with almost reminds me of the guy Tommy beat up earlier when he first went to spar in that gym.
Right.
And also Tommy's wearing headgear this time.
Yeah, he needs it now because he's fighting professionally. He doesn't want to get any damage outside the ring.
Yeah, because if you get cut or something, then you'll miss your fight.
Yeah. So now he's 8-0.
That's it. Oh! Damn, you okay? Hey, Tommy Gunn, you got some guns, don't you? Molly.
So the guy that he knocked down, his name was Sam. He goes, Sam, are you okay? Because he got the sparring partner, there's a wind knocked out of him.
Yeah. So it's not that guy. Now that I looked at him again.
Okay.
But
yeah, Robert's still looking on, watching his father having fun with Tommy, but he's still training.
Cause I know you got the knack.
And Paulie actually, ironically, is recognizing Robert's headspace. Did you catch that?
Sorry. I just.
No, that's fine. I was saying that Paulie, ironically, is actually aware of Robert's headspace.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if that's because like Paulie has felt left out at times too, or Paulie just kind of maybe gets Robert a little more than Rocky does. But it is funny that Paulie is stepping up to be the father figure and the person supporting the kid.
Yeah, that's a scary thought. Now we got a sequence here of Rocky running with Tommy through the streets of Philadelphia.
To go farther than you've ever been before. I'm going for mine. So go.
Oh, it's just a quick little part there. It's going to show more later. And it just shows Adrian yelling out, Rocky, like trying to get his attention, but he just runs away with Tommy.
Yeah, and she's back at the pet shop with Gloria.
Yeah,
Gloria's Gloria there. I believe that's the same actress.
It's the same actress. So Gloria, she and that actress and character was Rocky's 1, 2, and 5.
Gloria, she's solid. She's solid.
I tried to reach out to her for an interview. I'll try again.
I love the hustle you give for your podcast story. You're always trying to reach out to someone, and you're not afraid to take that shot.
No, I've had a lot of no's. I'll tell you that much. I feel like I feel like the dating days of my teenage life. A lot of no's.
Just keep punching, Ryan.
Yeah, I'll keep punching. All right, so here's Tommy fighting somebody else in the ring. And the headline says, Balboa's boy wins again.
Yeah, I think these headlines are like purposely inflammatory for whoever's writing them.
It's almost like, it's almost like the headline writers are trying to egg on Tommy to turn on his trainer.
Maybe Duke has influenced them or something like that.
Right.
His son here training, and you see him kind of like that look on his face.
Yeah, he's got the eye of the tiger now.
You're totally right. He does have the eye of the tiger. This situation is a blessing in disguise for him, at least in terms of him getting stronger to beat up Chippy or whatever that guy's name is.
Chicky, yeah.
Chicky, yeah.
So Paulie's counting the push-ups with him. 18, 19.
And they're good push-ups, too.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sure, like, you're the military, so you at least, I don't know if you still do tons of push-ups, but if at least had to at times. When I do push-ups with people, like in karate or whatever, there's a lot of people that do not really do proper push-ups at all. Like, they just bend their arms a little bit.
Oh, I hate that when they count that as 1, 2. Yeah, okay, anyone can just bend their arms. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, you got to get right down there. And Robert, he's doing it right. On his knuckles, too, so respect.
Respect to Robert.
Respect to his training regimen.
And now we're at a sports arena. It's getting bigger venues here. And Tommy's just knocked out somebody, but it's actually helping up. So it's showing that Tommy, he's not just an animal in the ring, that he respects his opponents.
Yeah. No, I have no beefs with Tommy as a fighter.
Nope.
He's a good fighter, and I actually don't. He gets manipulated and stuff, but I think he went into it honestly. He wants to become the champ, and he's working his way up, and he's he's not ducking anyone or whatever, and he's having a pretty legit run.
Agreed. Now, during this montage, we see the first image of George Washington Duke sitting in the crowd watching from the stands, and in his mind is rotating a plan or formulating a plan to do something with this up-and-comer Tommy Gunn.
Yeah, no, he just found his hook.
Drive to it.
Yeah, here we go. Rocky's robot rolls to 11-1. I love they call it Rocky's robot. Imagine if they showed a picture of Seiko. I was not fighting.
These headlines are unbelievable, honestly. I think this is bad writing. They poured on a little too thick here with the clone stuff. I think you could have written those headlines a little differently when you're writing this script and made it seem like Tommy wasn't getting respect. But like here, it just seems like this would never actually happen in headlines, at least not this frequently.
And speaking of poor writing, funny enough, this article, the writing underneath Rocky's robot rolls to 11-0. It's not talking about Rocky. It's actually talking about, says here, I'm sure that when this provision was announced, entrepreneurs from coast to coast shouted hallelujah, said Lloyd Grief, head of the investment banking for... So they gave up on trying to write proper articles under the headline, figuring people like us would be pausing this movie in 2019.
They done effed up.
Yeah.
35. Go on, man.
So again, we see more shots of George in the next fight, and now with him, he's brought his bimbo girlfriend, or the bimbo girl that becomes Tommy's girlfriend, the redhead. And next to George's right is Union Kane also watching. So are they all in on this together to get Tommy and their team?
Yeah, yes and no. Well, no, of course not. Of course not. Union Kane wouldn't be in on it because he's ultimately going to be a pawn that's going to get knocked out by this guy, right?
You could just argue that Union Kane is there to see just how good this boy is.
Well, that's exactly why he's there. But I don't think he knows about any plan where, because ultimately Duke wants to get Rocky back in the ring again. That's his real plan.
Right.
And so he's using Tommy to do that. And in order for that to happen, Tommy's going to have to stomp out Kane here.
Come on, you can do it.
Oh, the one-arm push-up.
Yeah, so we have a sequence there of Robert pulling off a one-arm push-up, and Jimmy's encouraging him, and then Jimmy goes next to Tommy Rocky and also gets them to do their one-arm push-ups together. So it's a big, again, drawing to the Rocky 1 and 2 training montages, the one-arm push-up.
Yeah, they're a staple.
It's a staple. Speed bag. Robert's getting better at the speed bag. Robert's doing one-arm push-ups. So he's kind of taking Tommy's journey, but he's doing it without Rocky.
Yeah, so Rocky's living vicariously through Tommy.
So
Robert is also living vicariously, or sorry, pardon?
Yeah, sorry.
Both Rocky and Robert, are living vicariously through Tommy.
It's like a menage a trois with Tommy. Everybody loves Tommy.
I got it. Come on, bring it up. Yeah. I got you this time.
So there's a sequence there for our listeners, obviously everyone here who's listening at this point, where Tommy and Rocky are like roughhousing in the ring. Rocky's got Tommy in a little bit of a headlock there after they did the one-arm push-ups together because Tommy poked him in the belly when he was lying on the canvas, and Rocky got him, put him in a little playful headlock.
We're having some good father-son time.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, I guess Rocky, the character, if you take it into movie years, he's about 45. But in the film years, he might be 40, 41. But anywhere between 40 and 45. So he's definitely old enough to be Tommy's father.
Yeah. That's weird that he's that young, Rocky, in this film.
Yeah.
Seems older.
He is legit. Well, let me just do some quick math here.
He's 44. Yeah, he's 44 in this movie.
Yeah, that's crazy. He's only a year older than I am. It's weird.
Well, you look young for your age, Ryan. I wouldn't think you look 44 or 43.
Well, thank you. But Slide just looks stronger than me, too, because he is.
One day he won't be, Ryan.
I think I could probably start Party Kitty and Studs. I think I've got that build.
No comment.
Okay. So it says here that Rocky's bomb... Well, sorry, what did it say?
Rocky's boy.
Rocky's boy bombs away. And it's a headline on the newspaper again, of course. And Adrian takes that paper and puts it under the birdcage for the poop.
Yeah, that's I actually think that's good writing.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's good. Tommy's now probably it hasn't shown it yet, but he's probably like 13, 14-0. So he is just climbing. He's making a name for himself. I can only imagine how much time has probably passed, which is kind of weird because Robert is like in the same school year. Can you go through that many fights? 14 fights in 2 months? I mean, I don't know.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not quite that many. It depends what kind of fights they are, right? Because I think Tommy is knocking people out in the first round. It seems, at least. You never know, but it seems like he's not. It seems like he's not really getting beat up too bad. You don't see his face marked up. I don't think he's taking a lot to the body. He's knocking people out quick. So the only thing stopping you from taking a lot of fights is the fact that you have to recover from the fights you've already fought. But if you're just wasting through people, you can have a fight a month for sure.
Okay. So let's say he's doing one every 2 weeks. So let's say maybe 5 to 6 months has passed. He's done probably 2 fights in a week here and there as well. Because, they're not huge events, so they're easy to put together.
And you wonder what's happening to Robert all this time. Because he hasn't confronted Chicky yet.
Not yet.
So is he still getting beat up and his lunch money taken? Or, like, what's happening?
Who knows? Maybe after that one assault, because he really got his face beat up. Maybe Chicky's laying off him a little bit so he doesn't get expelled from school or something.
Maybe, but Chicky took his lunch money later on. Like, he's had more than one. Because there's the one time Chicky beat him up to take his coat. And then there was another scene where they beat him up to take his lunch money. You would think he's going to continually get picked on, but I don't know.
Rocky and Tommy are in the gym. It's actually the office there. It says office, keep out. Rocky's about to give Tommy something. Let's see what it is.
Yeah. Tommy, these trunks is like very special to me,
I have a question.
Yeah, of course.
So remember how Rocky has trunks made for Adonis? I guess they're not like a modified version of these. Like, they're not the same ones. Because I'm guessing Tommy never gave those back.
Yeah, how did Rocky get... So for our listeners, we should say that... Yeah, you heard Rocky say what they were, but they're the Stars and Stripe boxers that Apollo wore. Those are what you wore in our first fight, Apollo. I can't take those.
Yeah, so Rocky wore those to beat Clubber. He wore them to beat Ivan Drago. He presumably inherited them.
And now he's giving them to Tommy. And I love how he just kind of chucks them over his shoulder to Tommy.
See, because Adonis takes on the stripe ones, and they look a little different than these ones, but I don't know. A part of me just thought maybe they were altered or something. They were the same shorts, but I guess they couldn't be because it's not like Tommy would return them, right? Like, I think once you give them to Tommy, they were gone.
Was Adonis Creed's trunks, were they just designed after his father's?
Yeah, I guess so.
And not actually his father's. Yeah, Tommy probably took those trunks, probably shred them.
I think Rocky gives him those trunks in Creed. Like, not necessarily those trunks, but...
That's what
I'm trying to think exactly how that works, but I think maybe Rocky had a pair like that made or something. Maybe. It's sad, though, that he basically, now because we know what happens with Tommy, he basically threw those trunks away.
Maybe, yeah.
You see Madison Square Garden in the background, so this is getting big time.
Totally big time. Totally big time. So he's moved up in the ranks, and his draw is enough that he's got to fight at the Garden.
So, hardcore.
Now the crowd's chanting Tommy, Tommy. So the crowd knows his name if the papers don't. And they're chanting his name. He's won a big fight at Madison Square Garden. And again, interspersed in this montage is Robert training hard. And he's hitting the punching mitts. And so he's training hard. And he's getting big and strong. So everything's moving along for both guys. Everyone's just getting stronger, bigger. George Washington Duke is like literally ringside now watching these fights.
Yeah, and you see that like Rocky has in his crew have like official shirts, like Tommy Gunn shirts. Like they're looking for less like a ragtag outfit, more like they're pros, and they got something going on.
And I know this film has been horrible with time continuity and time jumping. Let's just assume we're into the next school year at this point. We have to.
Yeah, because you can't advance because we were talking about how Tommy works his way up to the championship. You can't work your way up to fight for the heavyweight championship in a year.
No. So we're just going to give credit where credit has not been given to us, but we're going to say there's been at least a year has passed with this training, and at least a year. It's now the next grade for Robert. So Rocky's put up a picture of Tommy and Robert together celebrating that Madison Square Garden victory. They're at the pub celebrating their victory, but Tommy is not drinking alcohol. He's got milk in his mug.
You can't drink that piss before a fight. It's no good for you.
That's right. I knew you were going to say that. That's good. And Robert, he's got tape around his wrist now. He's taking his boxing quite seriously.
He's had that for a few scenes now.
Yeah,
Yeah, the tape is... You got to have the tape.
He got that Eye of the Tiger now. He's ready.
Yeah. I think maybe he's trained too long. Probably could have beat up Chicky a while ago.
He probably beat up some other kids first to work his way up to Chicky.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be not that they would ever do this, but it'd be hilarious if they had like a fight montage with Robert, where he's just knocking out kids at school, and then finally makes his way to fight Chicky.
He's got Jewel handpicking some of the weaker, scrawnier kids. Nah, they weren't handpicked. Oh, that'd be like a Family Guy montage.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
I beat the man. I don't believe it.
The scene that's coming up here, they've just run up the famous stairs, and believe it or not, these stairs were not run up in either 3 or 4. As famous as these stairs are, they were only used in, at this point, Rockies 1, 2, and 5.
Thank God. I would hate it if they used the stairs in every movie.
Fair enough.
They would have lost their luster.
But they used them again in Rocky Balboa, and then they used them again in Creed 1 and 2.
Rocky 5 and onwards relies a lot on Rocky nostalgia.
Right.
Had the other Rockies never existed, I don't think those movies would have been that successful. Not that they're bad films, but I think the Rocky nostalgia gives them a big boost.
Of course. And Tommy just says, he gets up the stairs, I beat the man, I don't believe it. He did a little cartwheel next to the Rocky statue.
Yeah, he beat the 45-year-old guy who hasn't actually been training.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to run up those stairs, Ryan.
I will.
You're not as far from Philadelphia now as you used to be.
I know. Trust me, I've already mapped it out, the drive from this part of Quebec to Philadelphia. It's only like a 6-7 hour drive. It's going to happen in the next 2 years. The family and I are going to go to the streets of Philly and to the stairs. We're going to go on the tour with Mike Kunda. It's going to happen, and I'm going to run up those stairs, and it will be done Facebook Live on the Rocky page, guaranteed, my run up those stairs.
I will live vicariously through you.
Thanks, man.
It's awesome. It is as good as you think it is and more.
Awesome.
You sure did. You're very swift, Tommy Gunn.
To be or not to be dope, that's
All right, so we're going to stop it there because this song takes forever, and we'll
Oh, God, Ryan.
What?
You paused on the best scene.
Oh.
You have some mullet on mullet action here.
Okay. Yeah, scene. All right. So,
Sorry.
No, that's fine. No, this has been a great discussion, but we'll, I forgot how long, and not in a bad way, but there's so much going on. It's probably 2/3, if not 3/4 done, but we'll save it here, and we'll stop it here, I should say. So they've just done the stairs. Yeah. Tommy's moving up, and in his mind, he's probably getting a little bit anxious, but we'll save that for the next episode.
I'm really excited to see him fight Chicky.
Yeah, that's coming up. That's why we got to stop it here because it's going to come up soon.
Oh, I know. I'm really getting into Rocky 5 now, though, doing these reviews. Like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great.
Oh man, well this has been an absolute blast, and I hope it's been a blast for our listeners. And I want to thank you again, Kyle. And that's why I've said it before, but I want to reiterate that if any of our listeners are wondering, Ruben and I are in wonderful terms. Life is funny. It's just all it is life and geographics and logistics. I'm 3 hours away now, 3 hours ahead of Ruben. He is busy. Like, this guy works very hard. He's a hard-working father, and he's got a family too. So here's the thing. Like, Ruben works 5, sometimes 7 days a week running his business, and then he spends time with his family. And it's just hard for him to do earlier recordings because he works business hours. And then he's taking care of his kids at night with his wife, obviously putting them to bed and spending time with them. So when he's free to record is when his kids go to bed. And that's I can't have him away from his kids any more than he would do that to me. So it's just going to make recording tough. So I'm just
So you're saying that Ruben's a better father than Rocky Balboa?
Ruben's a better father than Rocky Balboa. It's going to happen sooner than later. Like I said, I did invite him for this recording today, and he not invited him, but told him I got to do one or can do one, and if he's able to join me, because usually Saturday nights are his best nights. But it just happens to be a very busy weekend. So that being said, I just want to let our listeners know that Ruben misses you guys. He loves the show. He loves talking Rocky. And the good news is we still have Rocky Balboa and Creeds 1 and 2 to get through. And the rate that we go through these movies, I'll probably be back in Victoria by the time we get to Creed 2. Are
you not permanently out in Quebec? I thought you were moving there for good.
I'm not officially moved in yet. I'm on a training course right now. And I go back to Victoria basically for like 6 days just to drive back again with the family for a 10-day drive back here. Then I'll be here for 3 to 4 years, yeah.
Oh, okay. Just out of curiosity, I don't hopefully you don't mind me asking you
Sure.
this. You guys can edit it out, but like, are you eventually going to move back to Victoria, or like?
This is just a posting. Basically, it's just it's an opportunity for me to do something completely out of my element. I'm a Navy guy. I'm working with a bunch of Army guys, so I'm a big softy Navy guy compared to some of these Army kind of drill sergeants. The easiest way to say it for everyone to understand. It's an Army base, really. It's a military Army base, but it's a recruit school. So all the recruits come here before they go off to either Navy, Air Force, or Army. They all have to come through this school to learn basic soldier skills. And I don't have any soldier skills, really, so I'm learning them myself again to be an instructor, and I'm also here with experience. So I've got 16 years in the military or in the Navy, and which is part of the military, but you get what I'm saying. And yeah, my strengths will be mentoring and communicating to the recruits. The other people will be better at certain skills than me by far for like drill and that kind of thing. But I think I have a lot to offer. If some Army guy has a better salute than me, that's fine. But I think I have a lot to offer the students in other ways. That's what I look forward to doing.
There'll be an angel on their shoulder, right?
That's right. I'll never let anything bad happen to them. You know.
I suggest you rewatch the opening scene to Full Metal Jacket.
Oh, I love that movie. I've seen it many
just to
many,
get some ideas on things you can say to these kids.
I don't think I can say anything that guy says. It is a different military in 2019 than it is in Vietnam War era. Yeah, we cannot name call, number one. We certainly can't strike them.
I saw an interview with him. He was in Canada. He was in Toronto, actually, a couple of years after that movie came out. And the woman interviewing him said, like, are people actually like that?
Oh, yeah.
And he says, yes. He says, like, the Marine Corps doesn't condone physical or verbal abuse, but there are people who are like that anyways.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, is there anything you want to plug or say?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, well, I just want to thank you again, Kyle, for coming on. And I've gotten some feedback from some listeners, and they do enjoy your guest hosting contribution. So people do enjoy you.
Well, whoever those people are, thank you.
And without further ado, do you want to take us out?
Ding, ding.